Today we're going to shed some light on some myths of cardio for fat loss and what could be the optimal thing for you to lose fat. So I'm going to share a story of myself before I was a trainer over 15 years ago, when I was still a network analyst, computer nerd, and I was trying to lose fat. Like most people, I wasn't going to the gym, I wasn't lifting weights, I didn't know how to lift weights properly, kind of nervous and maybe even intimidated by it. So the natural thing was, okay, so let's do a calorie deficit. That worked for a little bit, lost some weight on the scale, and I still wasn't happy with the way I was feeling, the way I looked. So the next thing was introduce a higher calorie deficit by adding in some cardio activities. I would go for runs, I would go for bike rides, and then eventually I had to do more and more. It started off with not that much, and it ended off being, okay, I need to get my heart rate up a little bit more. So back then I would have energy drinks to boost my heart rate so that it would get even higher as I was doing cardio activities so that I could burn more calories. Stepping on the scale, it was still going down a little bit, but wasn't really happy with the overall progress. So then I would add more cardio to the mix and kept that routine up. And then finally I was at a weight on the scale that I wanted to be at, but I didn't look the way I wanted to look. I didn't feel the way I wanted to feel. At that point in time, I ended up getting down to 130 pounds. So I'm 5'8" and 130 pounds. You would think that I'd be skinny, and I was skinny, but I was skinny fat. So I still had a belly, and I didn't have that much energy. And then, as you can imagine, as soon as you start to introduce a little bit more food back into the diet, you gain even more weight. And I was gaining weight faster than I was before. So I'd have to do more cardio to compensate with that. And then I got to a point when I was too tired to do all that cardio, and then all the weight crept back on more than before. Now, let's explain why that happened. So, as you're losing weight, you're also in that story losing muscle. And as you lose muscle, what happens is then your metabolism slows down because muscle is a high energy upkeep. So the body's trying to help you and turn you into a smart car or Prius so that you don't need as much fuel to survive. And cardio was great for heart health, but in that scenario of trying to lose body fat, I was losing some body fat, but I was also losing muscle mass. So my metabolism, let's use random numbers right now. Let's say my metabolism was at 2,000 calories. By the end of that, then my metabolism was now, with the muscle loss, 1,500 calories. So if I wanted to maintain the shape that I was aiming for back then, I would have to only consume 1,500 calories. Well, how did I fix that over the years after damaging my metabolism? I fixed that through resistance training. Resistance training, I joined a gym and I started lifting weights and started learning more and more about it. And what you're doing when you're doing resistance training exercises, when you're putting your muscles under load, is you're tearing apart those muscle fibers. And naturally, the body's gonna try to rebuild them and try to rebuild them stronger if you're eating appropriately. So, through the years, the strategy now has been shifting to, I barely do any cardio. Cardio is amazing, but I do it through resistance training style workouts. So an example would be if I want to keep my heart rate up, I would do an exercise that is so intense for, let's say, weight lifted, that it would get my heart rate up really high, and then during my rest period, it would come back down. And then constantly going up and down, playing around with maybe the tempo, so the time it takes to lift the weight and lower the weight, or playing around with the rest periods. So if you were asking me what would be the best way to lose fat and keep it off, I would suggest resistance training. If you're just looking for the fastest way to lose weight, which is different than losing body fat, obviously, the fastest way is a calorie deficit and cardio. Again, however, I'm not recommending that because, again, the scale will maybe give you a number that you're happy with, but when you look at your reflection in the mirror, and also if you've been diaring your energy levels and how you're feeling, it might not be the greatest. I find for myself and all of our clients that resistance training helps them sleep better, it helps regulate their hormones a little bit better. It is insanely beneficial, again, even for heart health. There's different methods of training to increase that. I just gave you one scenario. Another scenario would be called something like supersets, where you would do one exercise and then another exercise back to back. It could be opposing muscles, could be the same muscle, but there's many different strategies. The idea is that you're constantly trying to trick the body to be a little bit better than it was the day before. However, it's not just resistance training. You want to actually make sure you're fueling the body appropriately and getting enough rest so that it can actually recover. And not only recover, it can recover and become stronger than it was before. So when you're looking at losing fat, look into asking an expert or look online, ask us a question of what would be the best scenario for yourself. And again, it's all about tricking the body. So sometimes less is more, and everybody's different. If I were going to do it again from my fitness journey, now that I have all my knowledge of being a trainer for over the last 15 years working on my health, I would have started off with rehabbing old injuries so that I wouldn't create new ones, so that I wouldn't plateau. I would work on my posture and core a lot more than just trying to push a heavy weight. I would look at connecting the mind and the muscle if I would have to do it again. And that's what we teach all our clients, is total body awareness. Once you have the awareness of what's happening in your body, then you can kind of create a game plan for it instead of just doing something random and hoping for results. Like anything in life, you want to figure out what you want that scenario to look like, to feel like, and then kind of create a plan working backwards on how you want to achieve it. So I'm going to also include a link to one of our blog posts elaborating this a little bit more. If you like this kind of content, please like the video, share it with your family and friends. Knowledge is power. We want to empower as many people to make healthier and healthier decisions, and even subscribe because then you'll see more of these kind of videos. Ask us questions. We love questions. And from your questions, we'll create more videos and answer that for you if we can't answer it right on the spot in the message back and forth. So again, overall takeaway, if you're trying to lose body fat, then create a game plan for that. In this scenario, again, I would suggest resistance training exercises so you can grow stronger. Lots of people are scared, however, of gaining bulky muscle. Don't be scared of that. It takes forever and it takes a lot of training, takes the proper eating, and it's a long process. Think about getting stronger, performing a little bit better, and overall you'll feel lighter, you'll sleep better, your interactions with people will be a little bit more positive. And once you have that empowerment, again, you're in control.